right, so we can start in case that anybody missed it, everybody can just go and replay it. All right, so I have a little schedule for the class today. So let's talk, the way that we're gonna do it is, we're gonna talk about the fear of calling, people picking up the phone and making that call. We're gonna be talking about who should we be calling. That's another thing. What to say, that is basically scripts and things like that. Objection handlers, that's basically what you gotta master. Then when people say no, you gotta come back. And the theory says that after 3 no's, people say yes. So every no, you're a little bit closer. You gotta get to that 3rd one, and people are gonna have to give up and say yes.
Look for the no. Look for the no.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then follow up, because the money in reality is on the follow up, not on making the call. Because you can call 1,000 people, and it's going to be very rare that that person is going to invite you to their house to evaluate it, because we're cold calling for listings, right? So that's what we're talking about. So let's start. So first thing is that I want to say thank you to everybody that is watching, everybody that is replaying it, and everybody that is in here. And a little bit about me, Jefri Liriano. I've been in the business since 2017, so this will be my 4th year. A little bit about my background. I went to school for accounting and marketing, and I've done radio for a little bit over 10 years. And hey, Jamie. So I've always been involved in marketing, so marketing is like what really calls me. And cold calling is not marketing. Cold calling is prospecting, because there's 2 differences. We have prospecting, and then we have marketing. When we prospect, we're reaching out to the people. When we're marketing, people are reaching out to us for a piece of marketing that we put out there. So that's totally different, right? And you need to do a combination of both. But prospecting is actually, you're out there getting the deal. You're not sitting and waiting for the deal to come to you. And a lot of agents do that. They'll put an ad and they wait for the phone to ring. You got to wait for the phone to ring, but while it's not ringing, pick it up and make another phone ring. All right. So to finalize a little bit about me that I have here, been doing cold calling since I started my first week cold calling. My first week in the business, I cold called an expired, and he had a property that expired, and I was able to list it. And he also had a condominium that he wanted to list as well. So I did 2 deals my first week, and it was calling. When I saw that, I was like, wait, that's it. I'm gonna call every day. I'm gonna hit these phones until I make it happen. So the fear of calling, right? That's the first thing. That's what stops a lot of agents. I'm not good at it. Right? That's just a monkey mind speaking. You're actually not prepared, but I bet you if you get prepared, you will be good at it. Half of the call is feeling comfortable, because the fear of calling, I think that for everybody is picking up the phone and what about if they ask me a question that I don't know how to answer? That's the first thing, right? What about if they ask me a question that is going to put me behind the wall, like, what's your commission on the first call? Like, what are you going to say? But knowing what you're going to reply is going to give you a feeling of confidence that you're going to make the call, because you're ready for whatever anybody is going to say, right? So the fear of calling, I would say, is prepare yourself. Know what you're going to say. So meaning, have a script. Your script doesn't have to be perfect, but know what you're going to say, right? And after people start asking you questions, and you start failing, that you don't know what to answer, then Google it. I always tell people, if you Google anything, you will get it. Like I want you guys to be in this class, but you don't even need to be in here. You go to YouTube and Google, and you will find out more than what I can tell you today. But people don't do it. And it's that getting ready before you make the call. So I would say, pick a script depending who you're calling. For example, we're going to move to the next part. That is, who we're going to call. We have people, and we're going to go back to the fear. After we're done, let's see our level of confidence at the end if we want to make a call. And FYI, everybody's making a call today, right? Just FYI, in here, whoever's watching is not making But today we're making a call, right? We're gonna treat it a little bit like both. Do the exercise as well, all right? So who we gonna call? We have expired listings, people that were on the market and it couldn't sell. There's only two things why that property didn't sell in today's market. And overprice or bad marketing, right? And for you to have bad marketing in today's date, right? If you put it on MLS, it's enough marketing because people are gonna jump. So they either took really bad pictures and people thought that the house was trash. Probably they only put one picture of Google Maps and everybody thinks the house is trash. And then when you go, it's a mansion. Or the pricing, right? You will know right away before you make that call. If you look up that property, how long it was sitting, you can do a CMA, you will know exactly what conversation you're gonna have. You know that person is overpriced. So you gotta come in with that mentality because at the same time, you don't wanna lose your time talking to these sellers, go to their house when they think their price is here. You don't wanna talk to those people. You also gotta learn who you're gonna hang up the phone on. I hang up on people every day. And I tell them, listen, the same way that you can hire me, I can hire you. And I don't wanna work for you. Boom, hang up, next call. I don't need to talk to you. If you're not, I'm here to help. If you don't want my help, boom, hang up. That's it. Like I'm more valuable to you than what you are to me at this point. Because there's 1,000 of you, but how many people that are dedicated like me are you gonna get? That's the question, you know, that they gotta answer, but they don't know that. So we gotta provide the value. So when we call, let's not just call and say, hey, I wanna list your house. No. This is everything about Bold that I'm like bringing in. So copy paste, I don't know, copyright, I'm giving them their credit.
Just sharing information, that's all.
Right, so let's say we're gonna call it expired. We gotta talk about, hey, I know that your property expired. The first objection that I always do when I call somebody, especially if it's an expired, and you guys should write this down and use it. The first objection that an expired is gonna give you is that a lot of people are calling them, right? That's the first thing. The way a lot of agents are calling, that's the first thing that they're gonna tell you. Oh, you're the second guy, you're the 8th guy. So what I do is that right when I start the conversation, I don't allow them to tell me that they are, you know, tired of getting calls. Hey, my name is Jefri from Keller Williams. I know that you've been getting a lot of calls about this property, but I have 2 questions. When I tell you 2 questions, you're gonna be like, okay, go ahead, shoot, right? Do you guys decided not to sell the house, or you guys still accepting offers, right? You're expired. I know you're expired. I'm not gonna repeat that. But if I tell you, are you still accepting offers? Because the market is super hot. You know, a couple of properties just sold down the block. When you ask that question, you're not asking them, hey, can I list your property? You're asking them, do you want that offer that you wanted a couple of months ago, a couple of days ago? That's what you're asking. So what are you doing? You're tapping into what they want. You want to listen, but before you solve your problem, you got to resolve their problem, and they want to offer, right? So when you call, you want to make sure that you give them the value that they're looking for. Hey, are you still looking for an offer? Yes. And then have the conversation with them. Another thing about Bold is that asking a question of why they're selling. Understanding why they're actually doing it is key. And me and Art here took the class together, and I bet you recall this. And if you ask somebody why was the reason, why they were selling, right? And after they finish telling you, paraphrase what they say back to them. Say the same thing that they told you back to them. Oh, so you were selling because you're trying to get closer to your daughter's college down in Georgia. Okay, definitely, that's what you're trying to do. What does that tell them? It tells them that you're listening, that you're paying attention, and that you're not just waiting for them to finish talking to say, hey, let me go into your house, all right?
Isn't it what would it mean to you to be near your daughter?
Yeah. So now you know the big why, right? You know the motivation. Why? So when you're having a conversation with them and you bring your value proposition, what will be your value proposition? A quick example would be like, well, there's so many buyers we're working with so many buyers interested in your area, and I believe that we can definitely bring you an offer. And if we can bring you an offer and get you closer to your daughter, wouldn't that be great? What are we doing? That's an open-ended question. And if I tell you closer to your daughter, wouldn't that be great? And he's gonna say no. He's not gonna say no, right? There's no way that that person is going to say no. Right there, that's it. That's your cue. If you get them to that point, now you're asking for what is called the appointment, right? And when you're asking for appointment, do not give the seller the right, I'm gonna say, the right to to choose. Give them two options, right? If I tell you, hey, do you wanna come in or are you gonna stay out there? I'm gonna give you two options. You can stand right in the middle of the door, in and out. You can do whatever you want, right? But if you give a person two options, they're gonna end up picking an option. So what you go ahead and do is that you go and tell this person, okay, great, so let's do this. Why don't I pass by your house? That way we can do a market analysis and see exactly what is selling in today's price, because these prices are changing every day. Properties are selling overpriced. We want to make sure that we have the right value. It'll take me about 10 minutes. Here comes the two options. What'll work for you? Weekdays or weekends? You can say no, but you give him two options. Most likely he's gonna say weekends. All right, again, two options. Morning or afternoon, you're breaking it down. He's gonna pick one. Morning. Now, still two options. So what are we talking about? 8 in the morning, more late, 11 in the morning. Two options, they're gonna pick one. 9 in the morning. Okay, great. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna call you at 8 in the morning to make sure that you're gonna be there. And I'm gonna be there at 9 in the morning. And then you do what is called full and complete, right? And this is from when I used to be a debt collector. They make you do a full and complete. So you wanna take their full name. I was a debt collector. You wanna take their full name, their number, and their email. Because you're gonna grab them, you're gonna put it on your CRM. In this case, whoever's using Command, you put it in Command, you can send them your application. So they can browse. You can send them 2 week. You can put them on a bi-weekly plan so they can get every two weeks they can get an email from you with what is going on in their neighborhood. You can create a follow-up plan. There's so many stuff that you can follow up with that person right when you get that full and complete information. Right there, you got the appointment if you work it that way. But you're gonna get 25 no's before you get one yes. That's normally the ratio. If you have a really good conversion rate. So you gotta go through a lot of people. You gotta make a lot of calls. The problem with a lot of people is that they sit down and make 100 calls, no luck. Next day, 100 calls, no luck. There's gonna be that day that you're gonna make 3 calls, right? And they're gonna tell you, and I wanna sell it to my neighbor. And then you end up representing the neighbor as well. You're a dual agent and you're making thousands of dollars in 3 calls. And you can do that. That's totally possible and it happens. But you gotta make a lot of calls. I would say you need to dedicate yourself 4 hours to lead generation a day. And it's not just cold calling, it's many other things, because that's the one thing. People think that they're gonna go and do expires and that's it. You have to do a variety of cold calls, because we'll jump to the next one. Geographically, geo calls is what I call it, geo calls. So basically, what this is about is, let's say we sold a property in 123 Main Street. So we're gonna call all the properties nearby 123 Main Street and say, hey, we're selling this property. We just put this property on the contract, or we just sold this property and we have buyers interested in these type of properties. All right? Are you interested in selling yours? That's when we go and ask the question. We let them know what is going on. You're the person selling these properties. I just put another property on the contract. It puts you as a local expert. And I'm gonna give you guys a tip, something that I started doing when I didn't have any listings. And this is totally doable, right? And you need to ask permission for this, right? So let's say you can do one of my listings. Anybody that wants to call me and do it, I'll say yes to any of my listings. You call. You can call the person and say, we just put a property on the contract because we are Keller Williams, right? We're Keller Williams here in Andover. You can call and say, hey, we just put a property on the contract. This is the one. You didn't do it. We're Keller Williams. We're here. We can help each other. You can utilize those type of strategies. and you're gonna be looked at the local expert because you know who put the property on the contract. You have all the insight for that deal because you have the agent right in front of you helping you that is giving you permission to utilize. I got a call from somebody from Lynn, Keller Williams, that they want to utilize one of my listings to run ads in Facebook. Go ahead, run. Yes, free advertising for me. But then she's getting a bunch of leads, right? She's getting a bunch of leads. You can do that. You can leverage other people's listings, but ask for permission. Give them a call. Put it in writing. Send them an email. Make sure that they email you back. Just, stay safe. But ask for permission. Take advantage of these type of stuff. And you can do it with command. And it's very cheap to do that. You just got to do it consistently, again, in order to get a result. So we have expired listings, geographical listing. We have the for sale by
You also
owners.
call them circle prospecting.
Circle prospecting, yeah. Yeah, I hear changing names and stuff, right? Circle prospecting. Then we have our spheres of influence. Art has the art of talking to his people. He calls his people, his database, the people that trust him and love him, and what he said yesterday. People that trust him and love him, because those people that know you, they trust you. And when anybody's talking about real estate, they're going to refer you. But if you're not top of mind, if you're not contacting them frequently, and frequently means quarterly plan on command that is 4 times a year, your sphere of influence, the people that really like you, to recommend you, you're supposed to, what is the ratio on your database? So for 5,000 people that you have on your database, you're supposed to close 50 deals. So that's the math. So if you want to close 100 deals, you got to have 10,000 people that actually like you and know you. It's not just somebody, a fly on the wall, you grab their number and you're just sending them stuff. You want to make sure that you're staying top of mind with these people. So also, it's not cold calling. This is warm calling because they like you, but you can start there, getting more comfortable in the phones. And they call it DTD2, do your database too. Calling your database is huge. I'm going to say last year with COVID, we focused more on calling our database than calling out. And we did more than what we did the year before. We sold 64 deals the year before. And last year we did 80 deals. So, and we were calling our database, hey, and the script that we had, it was depending on the situation. What we had last year, COVID, right? We just calling to see how you doing. Simple as that. How you doing? You call somebody, hey, how you doing? Right? Who the heck's call anybody and ask them how they're doing? Nobody has called me and asked me how am I doing? But imagine the impact that you're gonna live with somebody when you say, hey, just checking it. How, and there's a way how to call your DTD2. The questions that you're gonna go through. You're gonna ask them about their job, their future. Ford. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Questions about that. How's your family doing? How's your job? How's that tech company you were gonna open? How's it doing? How's that restaurant you were gonna open? Make them talk. You know why? Because when people talk, you create a bond, what they call building rapport. They start trusting you. You gotta be genuine. They gotta feel that it's real. You can talk to somebody, you know that they just seeing you as a number. You can feel it. Because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because I can say right now, hey Art, I'm a little bit thirsty. Would it be offensive if you go grab me some water? Sure. I bet you stand up and get it. But if I say, I'm just thirsty, go grab me some water. Just look at you, you're not gonna stand up for it. You're not gonna do it, right? So when you ask for stuff, you gotta ask. But when you call your database, you always ask for referrals. That's the thing. You're just not calling them and asking them how they're doing. After you ask for Ford, at the end you say, hey, and you're not in this asking and telling somebody is totally different. Because what a lot of people do is that they call and they say, hey, if you know anybody, let me know. When you do that, the person is gonna say yes. You're not gonna make their brain work and get the information that you're looking for. So how you ask the question is also important. So what I'm gonna ask, what I'm gonna say is, Do you know anybody right now that is looking to buy or sell that you can connect me with? And you shut up. You don't talk. Because when you don't talk, the people are gonna think. If you talk, they're just gonna start listening to you. Just don't say anything after that. Even when you're pitching, and when I'm pitching is when you're saying, wouldn't that be great? If I get an offer for you, wouldn't that be great? Shut up. Don't say anything after that. You gotta let them talk and say yes back to you. And that is the cue. So you always say somebody you can connect me with. You're not if you say, oh, I'm gonna send you my information, give it to the person. I don't want nobody to have my number. If you think about it, oh, it's great if people have my number. I'd rather have their number because I know I'm gonna pick up the phone and I'm gonna call them. I don't want to wait until they call me. What about if they lose my number? I want your number because I know why I get up in the morning and I make my calls. I don't know about you, but I make my calls. That's the way I see it. So you really want to say, hey, who can you give me right now? And you shut up. You wait for them to answer because their brain is going to start thinking. Then and it happens when we were in Bold, they made us go outside and call people that we knew and ask that question. Do you know anybody? And one of the funniest part was that one of the agents come in and she was like, I just called my husband. And he was like, oh yeah, somebody here at work. Right? Husband.
Reach a little further outside.
Yeah, imagine that, right? Imagine that. So you always want to make sure that you let people know that you're doing real estate and that you're serious, that you're 100%, and that you're the real deal. You always got to make sure you do that. So we move again to for sale by owners. For sale by owners are difficult. They're a tough cookie, all right? So I think that when people talk about fear, I think that they think everybody is going to be a for sale by owner attitude. A for sale by owner attitude doesn't see the value of any of you guys. You're zero to them, right? Right? You're zero to them. And that is the point that you're starting. I would say start with your spheres of influence. Start with geographically farming or circle prospecting. Then you can move to expires and then move yourself into for sale by owners. That's how I will organize your nervous system to get into cold calling. so you can get really comfortable and dive yourself in, you know, because I think whoever they convert a for sale by owner has my respect for life. For life. I dealt with for sale by owners. I don't call for sale by owners now. I just don't deal with them because I think that my time is more valuable than to deal with a person that doesn't see the value in me. If I have to come and tell you how much value I am and it's just not for me. Now, there's people that make a ton of money with for sale by owners and they're good at it. And you know what is going on? I have a monkey mind that I don't want to get myself around calling for sale by owners. So I need some coaching. I need some training into telling myself that I can do it, that I can calm down and I can have a conversation with one of those people. Because my thing is that, hey, you know, I'm bringing that value. And if I don't see you want it, I'm going to be like, okay, thank you. And I'm going to bring it to somebody that really wants it.
I don't mind them so much because I used to call them and just ask if I could come preview their properties because I had buyers, see if it was right for them. And then once you get there, they let their guard down and then you start talking to them and asking them, but you're in front of them because you went to preview the property. It takes more time.
And that's how I was doing, you know, and I was getting the appointment. I was going there. But there are people that are better at that. You know, the personality test, the DISC assessment, the KPAs and all those stuff. They're real. They work, right? Yeah. Like the thing is that my personality will not match for that, and I have to understand it. Again, there's people that make a ton of money on that, and they do great, and they're there. They're asking for 70% of for sale by owners hire an agent. So seven out of every 10, well, no, 7 out of every 100, right, is gonna hire you. So if you can call 100 people in 2 hours if you have a dial, right? In 2 hours, you can call 100 people. Now, if you're having a lot of conversations, you know, God bless you. If you make less calls, but you had a lot of conversations, God bless you, right? And there's people that make a ton of money. And they should, we should bring somebody that is good at Facebook just to do a training on Facebook, because that's really good. And so those are the four categories that we can call. Now, tools to cold call. If you have no money, do what I was doing. I went to MLS. I pulled all the expires, and then I started reversing them or skip tracing them in websites. I'm gonna give out a few websites: whitepages.com, fastpeoplesearch.com. Those websites, you put a person's name and a zip code, and it'll give you their phone number, their addresses. You can reverse addresses and get people's phone number. You can reverse corporation in the state, get who's the manager of the corporation, that reverse it in fastpeople.com. You can get the information and call the owner of that LLC. There's many ways for free that you can get that information, and I just gave it out right now. So you can do that. And once you do your first listing, then invest in a service. There's a lot of service out there. There's Redex, there is Mojo, there's Land Voice, there's Vulcan 7. I think I mentioned most of them right there, right? So what these people do is that they collect that data. They do the skip tracing for you, right? The getting the information of those expires. They also have a dialer that you will be able to call all these people on a dialer. What is a dialer? It's going to be dialing for you fast. You know, you're not going to have to be punching out those numbers. And it's going to give you all the information of whoever you're calling, their address, the phone number, the detail of the property, when it expires. So it's easier for you. You're more confident when you're having a conversation because you got the data right in front of you. But you can still do it, skip tracing it for free. Now, when you skip trace, you're going to lose a lot of time. When you pay for one of these services, it's going to be faster for you. These services, the range, there's like $150 to like $300 a month. But one deal pays for that for the year. So if you cannot take one deal to invest in your business, you gotta, like, before start cold calling, you gotta think about how you're gonna do your economic structure. Like, you gotta spend money to make money. People say, no, you don't. Yes, you do. You gotta spend money if you really want to make a lot of money. So let me go back to my list. Make sure so who to call, the what to say. All right. For geographical, it's good to talk about what is going on in the area. The circle prospecting. Hey, another property sold, a property is coming to the market, a property just went on the contract. Are you interested? Give them that feedback, right? When you ask them for find out what they want, what is their motive, focus on their motive, and help them fix that problem first, and you will get the listing. For expires, right? Objections, that's the first thing. Go in and say, hey, I know you're getting a lot of calls. You do that, and you're gonna keep them on the phone long. Trust me. And go again, hey, are you looking for that offer? Let me go by and do an evaluation. Same thing with your graphical. Let me go by and do an evaluation and go into the two options. Weekends or weekdays, mornings or afternoons, 9 or 10, and schedule. And then full FNC, collect all their information. Objection handlers. All right, this is the biggest thing. People are always gonna say, hey, I'm waiting for the summer. Hey, I'm waiting for the spring. Hey, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that, right? There's so many objection handlers in Google and in YouTube that'll be amazing. You can grab an objection handler that you get on a call. Hey, I'm waiting for the summer. You can write what to say to a seller when they say waiting for the summer, and I bet you somebody wrote about it. And you're gonna get an idea. You know how they say me giving you a fish versus me teaching you how to fish? If people will get in the habit of Googling any question that they have, they'll do less stupid things in life. Right? Right.
Yeah, right.
If you ask anything to Google, don't believe anything, read a lot. Just don't go with the first article. Go to YouTube. There's so much data out there. That's how I started cold calling. I started following a bunch of guys. The DNA brothers from here. I started following those guys. Brian Calcetta, David Caruso, all these guys, they're cold calling. Tom Ferry, they give out so much free material, scripts, follow-up plans for free. They charge you if you want to go into, deeper into your business, and it's going to benefit you. But they also give out stuff for free. You just got to go and get it. So the next part is the objection handlers is knowing what to say back. So I wanted to make it a little bit more interactive, and I wanted to know who wanted to role play with me. You want to role play? What do you want to role play? Expires? No, for sale by owners. I'm gonna call for sale by owners. I will not be calling.
You do expires.
An expired?
Yeah.
All right, check this out. Are you a new expired or an old expired? Because there's different ways to go about that.
I'm not too sure about that.
I'll pick.
I'll do new expired.
New expired. All right. So a little disclaimer, guys, remember when you're calling people, do not call the do not call us. It's $42,000
Fee violation.
per violation. So $42,000 a pop. I know commissions are nice in today's day because the market is high, but $42,000 will make a hole in anybody's heart. So, all right, I'm calling you, right? Take the thing off so I can hear you. So I'm calling you, all right? We're gonna call you Victor. All right. Ring. Hey, is Victor available?
Yes, this is Victor.
Hey, Victor, my name is Jefri Liriano. I'm a local real estate agent. Hey, I was calling you. I know probably you're getting a lot of calls. The property that you had on the market, do you decide not to sell or you're still accepting offers?
Right now, I'm still thinking about it, but I'm taking offers.
Oh, you're still taking offers. Let me ask you a quick question. I saw that the property was on the market for 90 days. Do you get any offers when you were in the market?
My agent was able to pull up a couple offers, but none of them really caught my eye.
Okay. So what are you doing now? You planning to put the property back on the market?
Right now I'm trying to find agents to possibly put it on the market.
Really?
I'm not too sure. I might end up becoming for sale by owner. And not
For sale by owner. Okay, that's a nice route to go. All right. So what number were you looking for?
Right now, the house, I feel that it should be sold for $250,000.
250. Now, would it be offensive for me to ask, what's the motivation of the sale?
It's not offensive at all. For me, it's just a whole family situation. My daughter's moving, well, not moving, but she's going to a new school, so we're just trying to figure out what to do with that situation.
So let me say this. We work with so many buyers in this area. If we were able to bring you an offer for those 250 and get you closer to your daughter, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that would definitely be great.
You know what I'm doing? I'm actually picking up a for sale sign that we just sold the property down the street. I'm actually gonna be around there this afternoon. I can pass by, take a quick look at the property and see if we can match up one of our buyers. What do you say?
Yeah, it sounds perfect.
All right, 2 p.m. sounds good? Or more like 5 p.m.?
We go 5 p.m.?
5 p.m.? All right, so I'm gonna call you at 4, okay? So I'm gonna send you my information, that way you know when you had a conversation. What is a good email?
It's gonna be Martinez, TRM@hotmail.com.
This is the best number to text you?
Yes, it is.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna call you at 4 to make sure that I see you at 5. All right?
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
So there's people that say, can you give me your email? I'm not asking you for your email. I'm telling you, give me your email. I'm saying, what is a good email for me to send you my information? I'm already telling you, this email is ready. I only need your, is this the best number to text people? Today's date, you're making calls, right? 85% of the texts get open. No, 95% of the texts get open, 85% of the text gets a reply. Even if it's don't bother, but they get a reply, right? And phone calls, it's like a 30%. But when you engage somebody on the phone, they hear the tone of your voice. For example, when I ask him when I pitch him about, wouldn't that be great, right? If I sound like I'm reading, wouldn't that be great, right? There's no motivation. But wouldn't that be great? It sounds totally different. When I say, would it be offensive? My pitch went up. This is like music. You got to learn, would it be offensive? Because it sounds, would it be offensive if I ask? Right? It sounds like so scripted, right? If you're monotone, you got to make sure that, you know how they say that you can listen to somebody smile when they're talking? They say to have a mirror in front of you when you're cold calling and to make sure that you're always smiling. You know, I don't do that. Looking at myself, I'll get distracted. Record a coffee brain on. But yeah, you want to be, and when you sit down, another thing. So something that really improved my cold calling, it was after I read the book, The One Thing, right? So the one thing talks about the 80-20 rule, right? So 20% of what you do gives you 80% of the results. So for example, lead generation is the main thing. If you don't lead generator or lead follow-up, you're really not going to have a lot of business. Sometimes the admin part, you can do it after hours and lead generate when the sun is out. You know, when people are answering their phones. And so basically when you're cold calling, no Facebook, no Instagram, no phone, right? You have your phone, but if you're using a dialer, put your phone away. No emails. At that point, you're only cold calling. Another thing, my dad will call me, I will not answer his phone call. My mom will call me, I will not answer the phone call. It has to be an emergency, right? So after that, you know, and I will talk to people, say, I'm in a meeting until 11. Because people are not gonna understand, hey, I'm lead generator. They're like, all right, you're just making calls. I need this, right? But you need to respect that time. It needs to be, you need to respect that. This is not like life. We call it having sex. You know why? What are you doing when you're having sex? Having sex, nothing else. You're not texting, you're not Googling anything. That's everything you're doing. The same thing when you're lead generating, make sure that you treat it like you're having sex. That's the only thing you should be doing at that point and nothing else, right? So I think it's drastic, but that's a good way to see it, right? Don't go to your email, you get distracted. Make sure you're always making your calls. So I want to go through questions and anybody else that wants to do a role play.
Time which you block, do you block the same time every day? Do you block different times of the day, morning, afternoon,
So
types of calls?
the way I learned how to pick the time, it was when you're debt collecting, there's specific times that people answer the phones. 8 in the morning to 11 in the morning, most likely people are answering their phone. 4:30 to 8 p.m., people are normally answering their phones and answering the text. Pick those times to cold call. Which one is better? Either or. It all depends, that specific person that you're chasing, when is the best time to catch them. But you're either gonna catch them in the morning or you're gonna catch them in the afternoon. When you call somebody, the fact that you call them and they didn't answer doesn't mean that they're dead. Try it in the afternoon. And with today's technology, just don't call them. Leave a voicemail, send a text message, and put yourself a reminder to follow up. You don't have a CRM or you're not using a CRM, KW, you have one for free, but you can use your Google Calendar. You know, put a reminder to call that person back. You can put that calendar to schedule a call with that person every week at specific times and you change it, you know, looking for that person. You gotta try. The follow-up is actually the money, not the first time you call the lead. If you call somebody and that person invites you to their home, to their house, you're an animal. But getting the information, a lot of people are gonna tell you that they're not ready, but the follow-up is actually what is gonna get you ready. When you make a contact with somebody, you're supposed to make 3 contacts in order to get the deal, right? So in the first contact, you don't wanna be too pushy either. You wanna get the list, you wanna get the appointment. If they say no, you can offer, hey, I'm gonna send you a quick market analysis without seeing the property. What is a good email to send it? What are you doing? Full FNC, you're getting that email. You have their phone number. What you're gonna do now? You're gonna follow up with those people. There's many follow-up plans in Command and on Google that you can pick and choose how you wanna follow up with that person constantly, via email, via text, with phone calls, to make sure that that person gives you referrals, and whenever they're gonna actually sell that property, they're gonna sell it with you. Another thing, when you're cold calling, somebody tells you that they have an agent, You can try, but something that I've noticed, when people say I have an agent, they already have that emotional bond with that person, right? Unless that agent, if no, it's a friend of mine, it's my niece, don't touch it. Keep on going,
Redfin.
you know?
Redfin, yeah. Good luck.
You know?
I go, is there a person at Redfin that you don't know?
Keep on going, you know? Another thing, when people ask you questions that you don't know, I always dance around the question. Don't answer. You can answer without an answer. You can answer it, but you don't answer if you don't know the answer. If they ask you a question that you don't want to give them the answer, pull the ball in their court. For example, when somebody asks me my commission, right on the call, many people do. What I do, in reality, I don't know how much I'm gonna charge for the property, right? Because it's based on how much I'm gonna spend on marketing and all this. So I'm gonna do an evaluation when I go, and I'm honest about it. And then pull the ball in their court. In reality, we gotta do something that is a win-win situation. I wanna take a look at the property and let me know what number works for you. I'll let you know what number works for me, and maybe we can meet each other in the middle, right? Versus people go into negotiation right away, right?
Goal is to net you the most amount of money.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You bring it back to their court, right? That's what you want to do. Don't get into the negotiation in the phone call. Even if they ask you and 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 hang up, you'd rather hang up, but don't get into negotiation in the phone, because you don't know what you're going to be facing. You don't even know if you want to work for that person. You don't know if you go to their house and their house is creepy. You don't want to deal with that house. So the follow-up, guys. The follow-up is the most important part about cold calling. You need to block times for follow-up, right? So now I'm going to give you guys it's called a Kepler schedule, if I'm not wrong. I think it's Kepler. Well, I'm gonna get it out anyways. So let's say you guys are gonna cold call in the morning. 8 in the morning, put yourself to call circle prospecting for an hour. Next hour, do expires, right? In your area. You know, let's say if you wanna drive at least an hour, it's a 50-mile radius. 50 miles is a 1 hour drive. You know, call your expires in that area. And then at 10, follow up with all those people that are hot, those follow-ups, those people that you already had a conversation with them. Give yourself an hour to follow up with all these people. You know what I do at 11? At 11, I call my people, my DTD2, right? The people that trust me for an hour. Call the people that trust you for an hour. That is lead generation. Lead generation is not calling expires all morning, every week. That's the only thing you do. Is putting a little bit in each bucket. You're gonna get a deal from your spheres. You're gonna get a deal from geographically farming. You're gonna get a deal from expires, because you're tapping into different things. You know, when you start expanding, there's people that start hiring ISAs to help them make more calls and stuff like that. There's ISAs that make calls from the Philippines. You know, there's all type of stuff that you can do and work yourself around it. But I don't think anybody should hire an ISA to make calls for them if they don't know how to make calls themselves. You know why? How are you going to know if they're doing a good job or not? How are you going to train them? You can hire somebody to train them, but how much money are you going to be spending? You know, if you got that much money, let's talk. You know, I'm willing to help you. You know, learn yourself. And when you learn yourself, then you're going to go on fundamentals with the MREA book. There's the 3 L's. That is leads, listings, and then you leverage yourself. You're gonna grow depending on the people that surround you, right? My team, the person that I had the least amount of time knowing them is like 10, 15 years. All those guys went to high school with me, or I worked with them 10 years ago. Because I know these people. So you want to make sure that whoever you're pulling next to you is actually going to add value to you. There's going to be people you're going to have to move away. But, you know, learn first how to do the cold calling yourself, and then leverage yourself if you want to keep on growing, right? Because you're not going to sit, you know, for 20 years being a realtor, cold calling every day. Now, if that's what you want to do, you do it. But following that whole process of growing, but you gotta learn yourself first, how to make the calls.
Do you use the stuff in command where, on Facebook, the Facebook paid ads?
Yeah, I use them.
What do you say when you're calling those people?
What did they do? What did they do? How they landed there?
Well, they clicked on something.
They clicked
They
on
won't even
something,
say,
right?
But the majority of the people I talk to, but I don't
remember what I clicked on.
Right?
They put their data in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
So what they did with those Facebook ads, so it's a lead capture form, right? So people click on the ad, gets their information, and shoots it to you, and you call them. And I go straight to what they did. Hey, I identify myself. Hey, my name is Jefri, Liriano. I'm a local real estate agent. We had an ad in Facebook about 123 Main Street, and you clicked on it. I want to know if you have any question about that ad or about the process of buying overall. That's it. And after that, I go into, you want to buy? Oh yeah, sorry, I guess question. Are you pre-approved? How long you've been working? How's your credit? What type of property you want to buy? Oh, I want to buy a 2-family. Then you need around $30,000 to buy. How are you doing with the money? Oh, I have the money. Then I think you're ready to get pre-approved. Let me get you to my lender. Pre-approved with the lender. Then we get the buyer. We show them a house, and then we put 1,000 offers in this market. Wait until one lands. But yeah, just straight to exactly what they did. You got to bring them back. But you know what's the problem? When you wait too much to call. When that lead comes in, you're supposed to call them right away, because they just did it, right? After that, they saw a dog juggling, a dog, riding a jet ski, 3 a.m, they seeing how, tigers mate in the winter. They're gonna forget. You're not gonna call them, but you're gonna call them first thing in the morning. Legally, you can call from 8 a.m. to 8 at night. Anytime you get out, you can get that little fine. So we got 10 more minutes. So questions. Put you on the spot. Any questions here? I don't know. People are watching. You questions, sir?
You actually been talking about objection handlers.
Mhm.
What are your most common mistakes?
The comments objection is, I'm waiting for the summer. I'm waiting for the spring. I'm waiting for this. There's always a reason why to sell in any market. For example, I'm waiting for the spring and it's winter, right? What happens in winter? There's less buyers out there. There's less listings, which will make your house pop out. I think you have a better chance because you have less competition. Boom. Value proposition. Let me pass by and see how much is it worth. What about if we get you an offer for what you're actually looking for now in the winter? Wouldn't that be great? He's gonna say no. If I tell him, if I get you an offer for what you want, if I do what you want, will you like that? If you say no, you gotta be crazy, and then you don't want to go to that list. You want to stay at home. All right.
Question, so you mentioned the different dialers that you use. I know, pretty sure you use what, Vulcan 7?
I use Vulcan 7.
Did you go through any others and any growth?
Yeah. I use Red X. That's the Vortex. I liked it. It's pretty good. I used Land Voice. What I didn't like about Land Voice is that they don't have a dialer. But the feedback that I've gotten throughout the industry is that they have better data, meaning that when you call, they're not going to tell. It's fewer people say, hey, it's the wrong number, meaning they have better data. So that will make you like a little bit of a manual input into your dialer to then dial it. So you're going to have an extra process, but the data supposedly is good. And then Vulcan 7, why Vulcan 7? Because Vulcan 7 is a CRM as well. And all of them are sort of like a CRM, but Vulcan 7, you can send emails as well. So some expires, when they skip trace it, they also get their emails. So you can have an email campaign that when you call somebody, and if they didn't answer, but they had an email, you left a voicemail, and you can send them an email as well. So that was 3 touches. You call, text, call, left a voicemail, and an email in a simple process, right? It takes money to do it, but it works, right? So.
Sorry. First one is, because you
you mentioned obviously earlier, and we already knew that you can't call the do not call list, but if you have a dialer, does it automatically avoid it?
The dialer, that's what I like about the dialers. They don't avoid it. They'll give you they give you the freedom of being, you know,
Oh,
a
can you
daredevil.
like program it to avoid it?
You get to click, I want it or I don't want it. If you click, I don't want to call the do not call list, it will just skip it.
Okay.
If you're feeling, you know, you want a little bit of adrenaline rush, you know, you click on it, give yourself a little ride.
Oh, and then my other question is for the Jefri, handlers. I'm getting a lot for like, because of how people can't find a house right now. Like, let's say I'm talking to someone who's expired and their
Mhm.
problem is they're afraid because they're not enough houses on the market. Like, does anybody have any advice on that? Is that-
So their house, what, say that
So, like,
again, they're looking for a property?
Yeah, so like
And
they're
if that-
afraid to
before
list
they
their
sell
house
theirs,
because
right?
They don't wanna have to get kicked out.
So they're looking for a property, but they haven't listed their property?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even show them a house. If you don't list your property, before we go out to look for properties, I will never show you a house, even if you wanna
They
give me
have to
that
sell
listing.
by.
You know why?
That's like what.
If you send me an offer and you're gonna send the contingent of them selling their property, first thing I'm gonna say is it listed? Is it on the contract? Is it on PNS? Can you share those documents with me? If you say no, your offer is a little bit weak. For my client that probably has multiple offers with no contingency of selling their home, which is not, it will not hold back. So what you need to do is that you need to let them know that in order for any other seller to take them in consideration, to take them serious, they better list their property, they better put it on the contract. Now, what you do is that the property that goes on the market, their property, you're gonna sell it contingent of seller finding suitable housing.
Yeah.
If the seller doesn't find suitable housing, unfortunately, he won't be able to sell.
Yeah.
So he gets to put the property on the market, get an offer. Now, when they place an offer contingent of selling their home, they can say, hey, and we're already at PNS, we already have an offer accepted, or we are on the market, and it gives you a little bit more weight to that offer. You already have a difficult market. Adding contingencies is just, you know, the perfect setup to fail.
The other thing
So-
the other thing you can say
List.
is, that right now in this seller's market, buyers are giving, or the sellers are just in the driver's seat, buyers are giving you tons of time.
Yeah.
I got till September 17th right now to find somebody.
Yeah.
home, Right, so, and it's subject to suitable housing, so God forbid we get past Labor Day and we just give them their money back.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
We've got months, and that's,
And it's very hard. It's very hard.
There's all kinds of options.
Yeah,
Leaseback
lease backs,
options
yeah.
are-
Yeah.
Right now, there's no
That's
listing.
only 60 days.
Right now, there's no listing.
Right, can-
But, and I don't like to say but, because both, you're supposed to say and, but.
Rebel.
You get a listing right now, all right, hooray, hoorah, you put it on the contract, you gotta find that family a new home. That's a task now as well. So even getting, right now, a lot of people say, oh, there's a great seller's market. If you ask me, I don't like this market. The commissions are bigger, but the problem that we're facing to put properties on the contract as a buyer agent, and then as a listing agent, we got to relocate that person as well. Then we are buyer's agent. So we're still buyer's agent. So it's so difficult in today's day that, we have to make sure that, like in that situation, when the opportunity is in front of you guys and that's the property, that they will be able to actually be taken in consideration. So I will make them list the property, and I'll tell, because you're spending time, right? It's your time.
You wanna waste
Be jealous about your time. Be nice, but be firm. Say, you won't be able to see more properties, because this is the feedback that we're getting from the agents. You don't have to say, this is my decision. I'm getting feedback, right? It's all about how you say it. Remember, I'm getting feedback. This is what I'm getting. What do you think we should do? Bring the information and allow them to take the decision, but you're actually feeding it to them, for them to understand that that's the decision that they need to make. Everything is how you say it, right? You can go and say, hey, we need to list. I heard today that you need to list, and that's it, right? Not gonna list,
Jeffrey said.
Yeah, Jeffrey. Who the heck is Jeffrey?
I
Right?
don't wanna know, man. He
Who's
said,
Jeffrey?
that's it, the listing.
right?
I have it in mind right now.
Say, hey, you can approach it this way. With other clients, we put offers in the same situation. And the feedback that I got from these listing agents is that due to the fact that you're not on the market, your offer is weak. Use that word, weak. And it's not competitive. This market is very competitive. If you have this clause, it will protect you. We need to do so in order to move forward, right? And then remember how I told you to shut up? Shut up, don't talk. Let them think. And if you can say, hey, I wanna leave that up so you can go ahead and talk to your wife. What about if I call her tomorrow and we have a conversation? Dramatic, pull out. Tomorrow, give them a call in the morning. Hey, we're ready to list. I have the photographer ready. You're not asking them. You already told them that they need to list, and you already put in your brain that you're listing. I have the photographer ready, and I'm putting up the sign today. When you guys can have the property clean. I'm not asking you if you're listing. I'm telling you that you're listing. But that's the right thing to do. Now, at the end of the day, you can say no, but at least you know that you're doing the right thing. And at the end of the day, that's why you're being hired, to advise them. Because if they knew what to do, you would not be getting paid. You went, oh, we got 1 minute.
What's your favorite follow-up?
My favorite what?
Well, if you had follow-up over time, not just like the next week, so if they told you.
The time frame?
If they said it was spring or something like that, if they, and there's a little bit longer in between, not the follow-up of this afternoon or next week, but a month from now.
So when did they say that they want to sell?
Just say that they said they wanted a spring market and you talked to
Spring.
them and.
January.
Yeah.
Right? So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna put him on a bi-weekly plan in command. Every 2 weeks, I'm gonna send him all the properties that are selling in that area, right? The next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm gonna give him a bi-weekly call, right? Just updating him on what is going on, or to ask him if he got that email that I sent. You're calling to make sure that the value that you're giving him is getting to him. You're not calling him, hey, you want to list? Just wanted to make sure you got it, because I didn't hear from you. Okay, great. There's anything that you need? No, okay. Until we get to that point. That'll be my second follow-up is gonna be in 2 weeks, right? My next follow-up is gonna be monthly with a call. But in between those calls, I'm sending him email and text messages as well, at least once a week. I want to make sure that he knows if he's really serious about it. If I don't see that this person is really gonna sell, they just go on, I call it a nurture. That is, I'm gonna call them every 4 months. But I'm sending them emails and text messages as well, because people are more prompt to reply to text messages, right? Like right now, she's replying to a text.
Actually,
I know, there you go. If I would have texted to sell our house, she would have been answering. All right. So, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions after that, email me, jliriano@thelirianoteam.com.
Thank you, that was great.
You're welcome. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, it really was.
I know that maybe you guys wanted scripts and things like that, but I think knowing now what you know, that fear that we talked about at the beginning is at least 1% less,
Oh, definitely.
right? That's it. All right.
thank you.
Peace to everybody watching. I'm gonna go have lunch now.